The following program is intended for mature audiences.
My friends, it is once again another riveting episode of the McGee Uncensored Podcast with your host, McGee. And as much as I don't like going out, I do, because then I have material for my show. And I'm going to recap for you a little bit of Halloween weekend. And I know that 2 to 3 of you listen to this on a regular basis, and maybe a random here or there gets bored and tunes in and sees what I have to say. I was really fired up last night, and I wish I had my studio equipment with me, or recorded stuff on my phone. I mess with my levels, so if you're listening to this and you may hear a little bit of a sound thing, that's on me. I don't know why I dabbled with it during a recording. I thought I had some audio imbalance. Always something wrong with the audio on this show. Anyway, I'm just trying to get back into the mindset that I was last night and Friday. Try to get back live in that moment as things were unraveling, happening. So, Friday night, I really wasn't going to go out, because there's not much to do around this area. I'll get into that as these episodes progress. But I decided to hit a local establishment, Hilltop Fireman's. They had their Halloween party. I didn't dress up. I haven't really partook, whatever, in the Halloween festivities in quite a while. Probably not since I was in college, dressing up. And I think I wore the same Ghostbusters costume until it started to fray. Look, I'm 6'5.5", so very difficult for me to find a costume that fits. And I think, well, I could tailor make a costume myself, but that would cost money. And I don't enter the costume contests because, well, you find out that the same people win every year at some of these places. It's like spending $40 to win 25. So it's just not worth the effort. I just show up, stay a little bit, and then duck out as the crowd starts to pack in, as I did on Friday. Now, I arrived at a decent time, not too early, not too late, right in between. Go up to a buddy of mine who has nicknamed me Money Green, because months ago, well, I didn't make the mistake. I had a green shirt on because I was at a wedding, and then I decided to go out after the wedding. Bumped into my buddy, and for the past 5 months, every time he sees me, he reminds me that he's going to call me Money Green. There's cruel irony to that because I have no money. The conversation with my friend turns into a typical ABCD Like, you know what's going to come first, second, third, okay? Talk about high school football where some local prospects may commit. How bad is our local football team, which that doesn't really concern me. And then he'll slide in a money green. And then his sister will want to Snapchat something irrelevant as usual. Now, I go and come as I please to places by myself. I don't wait on anybody. I don't wait for anybody. You know, and after the first 10 to 15 minutes of interaction, there's really not much for me to do. So I'd really try to find a seat. If there's one at the bar or something opens up, I got to take a seat. And I just sit there the rest of the night, and I kind of just look around, see who's there. I don't ever need to make my rounds at a bar or a club. I really couldn't care less. I usually end up saying hi to people anyway, or they see me and say hi. So it's really not that big of a deal to me. I'm not claustrophobic, but I'm sure as hell not a fan of a packed place, especially when there's limited movement areas. You know, local bars around here don't have many paths that you can make to get from one place to the other without some idiot in a really original Dorothy costume gets in your way, almost knocking your beer out the hands because they've got to put their hands in the air because I guess the song says so, or maybe the DJ says so. I don't know. Or I'm walking into a crowd of smoke screen of DJ smoke that irritate the eyes. That was fun. If you don't have that internal clock and that realization to know when to go, I can't help you. Me, I know when it's time to leave a place. I don't really order shots anymore because I'm responsible. I may have one or two beers at an establishment if I feel like it. So the service to me, you know, I don't care about being waited on that much. You know, I'm sure, and I'm not an idiot who has to order, 5 Vegas bombs or 5 shots of some flavored Crown Royal, who, if they want to have a sponsorship on a show, let me know. I'm content with a domestic bottle of beer. Now, mind you, again, this is Halloween weekend, and I always like when people come to me and go, "Hey, where's your costume?" It's money in my pocket. That's where my costume's at. When you go to these parties, how original is a costume? How many sexy cops, sexy firemen, women, nurses, pirates, zombies, some face paint that, oh, who did that? That's a really nice job that I don't care about. I'm not fun. I'm fun. I just, like I said, I haven't really taken part in Halloween festivities in quite many years. It was a lot more fun in college because there were actually fun parties to go to, and you go to the bar and you go out and dressed up like however you want to dress up. And it's funny now because some of these people don't even have the figure to fit into the costumes that they did 10 years ago, and I'm not saying anything bad, but when I see the same person wearing a black shirt and a pair of kitten ears for the past 10 years, they went from a baby kitten to pretty much a large kitten. Could I say fat cat? I said it, fat cat. And wearing black can only slim you up so much. Anyway, as my Friday night continued, I look around. I really didn't see anybody of interest and really not much going on. And I decided to leave. Well, my buddy, a friend, he left, and good guy, but always takes count of how many beers he had beforehand and how many beers he's on at the bar. And his sister's the same way. And I knew that as soon as I saw him get up to leave, he was gone. And, I'm nobody's bitch, I'm not somebody's taxi service. I'm nobody. There's like no obligation. There's no obligation on my part to be a ride for anybody to anywhere. You know, it took me a while to get my license. And I know that I never expected anybody to pick me up. And I never asked people for rides to anywhere. You know, and some friends, and kind of, poked fun of that. And then, I mean, I guess, that's real cool on their part. And there were times that I needed a ride in a emergency situation, and friends failed me on that. So I remember, I don't forget. But when I finally got my license, then and there, I mean, it took me a while to get my own car, but anyway, I knew that now I don't have to wait for anyone. And I'm also not anybody's babysitter or watcher of their personal possessions at the bar. If you leave your stuff by me, and I leave, it's your responsibility to come back and get your stuff. When I'm leaving, I don't owe anybody an explanation. I'm not taking you with me. I'm going home, or I'm going to go get something to eat, and then I'm going home. I'm not out to ruin anybody's fun, but it is what it is. No amount of persuasion was going to get me to stay any longer. And I sure as hell wasn't staying till 3:30 in the morning to take somebody home. Those days, I hate that. There's no reason to stay out that late anymore. It's just not worth it. It's not fun at all. I gave it's like a small hand purse and cigarettes and a phone to the girl that was walking around the entire time, who has to go around and dance. And as I saw a man try to get served, she was grinding up against him. And the look on his face was like, please get away from me. I'm trying to get served. I've been standing here for a while. And then you're grinding your ass up again. I don't want this. Please just leave. You could see that. He just was like, please just leave. She walked away, got the hint, and left. I don't like moochers. At one point, I was asked to sign 2 people in who I thought, as I was told, was going to be these cousins of these people. Or that's what I was led to believe. I said, well, I know the family. I know who they are. I'll sign them in, no problem. I go over there, and there's these 2 black girls at the door. And they're not family members to the person that asked me to sign them in. So I was a little heated there. It wasn't about who. You lied to me about who I was signing in. You sign these random people and you don't know what they're going to do, but they seem to be all right. Not that my membership's in risk of getting revoked, because I'm not a problem starter. So that really capped off my night at one point, and I said, I had enough. I said, I'm done with this shit. I never sign anybody in. I'm done signing people in. I don't care who it is anymore. It's nothing against anybody. I'm just, no. Use your sign in wisely. I know I was going by 12:30, 1 o'clock that Friday. So I don't know what happened to anybody else. I don't know how the evening went. I'm sure it went off without a hitch. I could only assume. But there was nothing there for me, and that's it. It started to get packed. It's not fun. And then, for anybody who's lame and tries to get there before 2 o'clock to these private clubs, how stupid are you? Just go home. Just go home. I like a bar club atmosphere when there's good music that isn't too loud to where I'm not trying to talk over it to lose my voice, because I need my voice for this and my announcing. And if I had DJ'd, I'd change my playlist up. Maybe I'd rotate things every 3 years. Guys like Jimmy Moore from The Wedding Singer. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. I like nice, peaceful evenings. There weren't going to be any women up there for me to talk to. And the ones I did talk to, or I should say that there were ones up there who I have talked to in the past, there was nothing beyond the surface. So the conversation was going to go nowhere as usual. I just say hi, and then I get on my way. So that was my Friday night in a nutshell. Saturday comes along, and I had debated all day on what I really wanted to do. I didn't know if I was going to go out, and I thought about going up to one of the stores and getting like a cheap wig and putting something on and making an appearance. And then I realized I have a Polk High El Bundy shirt, which is one of my favorite shirts, but it also is a cheap costume. So I tossed that on, did my hair. I have great hair. I don't know if you people see me out or not, but I have great hair. And I decided to go down to another establishment to see what they got going on. Now I got there later than not usual, but just later than the start time, so I knew that I was going to have a seat at the bar, so I was probably going to be this tall guy standing out, wedged in between seats, or I was going to go sit in the back. So I was like, do I even want to have a beverage or not? I don't know. Stood there, talked to Jordan Pop, who was dressed as a cowboy. And I don't know if anybody knows who Jordan Pop is, but he was the butt double for Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain. He was in full regalia. Hat, denim from neck to feet with the boots. He partied it up. He got wild. Wild as in he had 3 Cokes on ice instead of 2. Now this was the best part of the night I'm getting to. On Saturday, I'm standing there behind friends, and my former high school principal enters the establishment, and he walks behind me. You know, it's one of those taps on like the side, and jokingly he says, "Get the hell out of the way," which I'm sure he really has been wanting to tell me that for over 20 years. It's just me thinking that. And, you know, I wasn't a problem in high school. Yeah, maybe I did some goofy things, but think about it. 8 hours a day, you're bored. What are you going to do? I just try to liven things up a little bit. You know, so as always, I appreciate the friendly interaction. And I'll say this, I don't care if I was anybody's favorite back in high school. I don't care, you know. I got along with people. I minded my own business. Anyway, so that was fun. Kind of just ignored it. I'm sure it was playful. I'm sure it was. I was compared to Tom Brady. A girl at the bar. I overhear her, and I look over, and another buddy of mine's talking, and he's like, I don't see it. I said, what's up? She said, you look like Tom Brady. I go, well, I'm a Patriots fan. And this woman's from Bangor, Maine. And the conversation was going lovely. She didn't like the Red Sox either. She liked the Yankees. I was like, what the hell are you doing down here from Bangor, Maine? I don't know what her story fully is, but I just heard, yeah, I met somebody who had the kids. And I was like, you know, too good to be true. Too good to be true. Because no woman under 50 goes to this bar. So when you see someone young, you engage, but you don't fully. You got to pull back a little bit because you know that there's going to be a twist. There's going to be something there, and it goes, I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. You know, I don't go down there and hit on the bartenders or anything. I actually go out of the area. You know, and I'm thinking here, if I can't tell my story, then I can't be who I am. And I'm not going to have anybody put a stop to that. I fully appreciate the commitment to character by Steve Cinnamon, who was Dr. Gregory House, Kane, and fake Vicodin and all. And he diagnosed everybody with lupus last night, so I appreciate that. A lot of fun. Enjoyed a really nice conversation, as I always do, with Anthony Lejeune. Really good guy. Tremendous illustrator. And I got to get him on the show where you just sit and just talk about anything. Now, I had gotten there right before the costume contest was to take place. and I thought about entering. I'm thinking, who wouldn't vote for Al Bundy? There's no one that wouldn't vote for Al Bundy. So the parade of characters made a couple laps around the pool table. I don't know who judged it. I really don't. I wasn't paying attention that much. I was trying to engage more with the girl who said I look like Tom Brady, before the kid revelation. Not that I have anything against kids. It was just multiple. But anyway, one of those things. Yet I swear to you, someone could come down dressed up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and still lose. It just seems to me that the same people win every year, no matter how unoriginal the costume they are wearing. I'm not mad. I'm not jealous. I mean, there's people who maybe put on a pair of spandex and a wig and, thinks he's a rock star and drives a Camaro around because she has a small penis, but that's not my business. So I didn't even bother to go into the parade of who's going to win. From what I heard, the prizes are pretty nice. Now, I can't verify because I don't know what was in the envelopes, but word of mouth tells me that they are pretty nice. To finish in the top 3 or whatever, get out of here. And I only had one beer. That's the truth. Just wasn't feeling the atmosphere. Well, people started to clear out. As soon as they did that, which was around 11 o'clock, then people left. So it's like, I see how it is. I see how your loyalty and your membership to this club and everything, it's like, oh yeah, we gotta go, oh yeah, whatever. I'm sure that, you're on a diet and have to do diet things and, so you can fit into next year's costume or something. I don't know. I had my feel. And then I left. And then I went to get food because the mini cupcake down at the club, really filled me up. And that's not a knock on anybody. You have to understand, don't take anything personal, Jesus Christ. I pull into the drive-thru, and I look behind me, and I noticed people I went to Cal with. Now, I don't think they could see me in my vehicle, but every now and then I'm looking, because the line was long. It was a long wait for some unusual reason. There wasn't that many cars, but I don't know if somebody's order was messed up. Anyway, whatever. I was like, yep, there goes drunk again. As I see her sloppily eating what could be 2-day-old Dunkin' Donut muffin, or like their breakfast croissant. So not much has changed. They could be as professional as they want, but nothing has changed. I mean, ultimately, the weekend was just like almost any other weekend around this place, except for people dressed up in costumes and painted their face. And as I've stated, I gain nothing by staying longer than what I feel like staying. And with that, so be Halloween weekend 2016. Really looking forward to Halloween 2017. I'm thinking about my costume already. I might go as a burned out some ceramics artist. I don't know yet. Tell me what you think. I'm McGee. This is McGee Uncensored Podcast. Stay tuned for an ad, and then the music to play you out. Goodbye. If you love live local entertainment, then go check out the acoustic stylings of Matt Landis and Vinnie Cochin, the hottest act of southwestern Pennsylvania, playing all your favorite songs. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, as their sound will transport you to another dimension. Upcoming gigs: Wednesday, November 9th, 8:30 p.m. Gio's Restaurant and Lounge in Latrobe, PA. Saturday, November 12th, 8 p.m. The Villa Pub and Grill, Blairsville, PA. And Friday, November 18th, 9 p.m. Merchants Restaurant and Lounge in Boswell, PA. To book the duo, check out Matt Landis and Vinny Kocha Music page on Facebook. Like the page and check out all their upcoming shows.